going on, guys? It's Cimo. Now today I wanted to bring to you a discussion on a brand new TCG exclusive Synchro Monster that Konami just announced. The name of that card is Vermillion Dragon Mech. Now this is really cool because we've kind of been wanting a generic level 9 Synchro Monster that only requires 2 materials to make. Now we do have a couple of those already, namely Gigantic Castle and Cloudy Castle, but they pretty much suck balls for the most part, and this card actually does something when it hits the board and actually makes somewhat of an impact. So I just want to go ahead and go into the card and what I think about it. Before I do that though, there's some striking similarities between this and ABC Dragon Buster, and I don't know if it's because ABC's coming out in a couple weeks, so I have ABC on the mind, but it's like, it almost looks like a mirror image of the card in a really weird way, and I guess Vermillion Dragon Mech is kind of like his, like, delinquent twin brother that's just never been as good as, like, the first one. Like, I don't know, it's really weird. You're gonna see that I'm gonna make a lot of comparisons to Dragon Buster because there are some similarities to be made. So, Vermillion Dragon Mech, it is a Fire Machine level 9 Synchro Monster with 2700 attack and 1800 defense. It requires 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuners, so like I said, it's generic and only requires 2 materials, and that's really important. The effect reads that once per turn, you can banish 1 tuner monster from either your hand, field, or graveyard, target a card on the field, and destroy it. The second effect then is if this Synchro Summon card is destroyed by card effect, you can add 1 banished tuner monster to your hand. So this is a really cool card because it's a level 9 generic, as I said, but it actually has some really significant impact once it hits the board. Namely, because the effect for its destruction, needing to just pop any card on the field, you get it for free because you're using a tuner to make this card, and then you can simply banish that tuner to pop a card on the field for free. So it's pretty much 1-for-1 in there because you do need 2 monsters to make it, so you kind of take a minus, but then you're getting to pop a card for free essentially, or if your opponent's going to counter it with something, they're going to have to use a card. So it almost kind of 1-for-1's out there. And then if it's destroyed by card effect, you get to add a tuner back, so you're recurring some of your resources. Now, if you read the Konami article, you're gonna know that they pretty much just rode the BlueEyes dick because pretty much this card is going to become a staple in BlueEyes extra decks, and that's mainly because it is a level 9 Synchro, which BlueEyes can easily go into with any BlueEyes monster and any of their level 1 tuners, which they play plenty of. And the other thing is, too, with ADC coming out soon, Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries is pretty much going to become staple in most side decks, and with that, they can use that as an option for BlueEyes by siding in Spirit Dragon. So what's significant about Vermillion Dragon Mech is that it gives an alternative monster to go into other than Spirit Dragon if the BlueEyes player gets hit by Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries. Now, most of the time, that might not even happen, and the thing is about that as well, you're gonna want Spirit Dragon, but right now the only alternative, like I said, is pretty much Gigantic Castle, which doesn't really do a whole lot outside of maybe in the mirror match where it can run over a BlueEyes because it's 3100. This card, in that respect, is much better. So, moving on, why is this card really good? Well, again, in BlueEyes, being able to recur your tuners is something that's really powerful as well. The fact that you're already banishing your White Stone of Ancients to recur BlueEyes, you're going to get a free stone back if this card is destroyed by card effect. But you can also bring back something like Sage, which isn't recurable in the deck, and use it either to add another tuner from deck to hand, or upgrade one of your monsters into a BlueEyes monster. So that's really impactful. Now, outside of the scope of that, a lot of people are kind of mitigating the fact that you can also add back any tuner. So if you're playing cards like Effect Veiler, like Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, which is going to become a very popular card once ABCs come out, Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries is also a tuner. All of these really powerful hand traps that also happen to be tuners, you can banish for the effect of this card, and then add them back to your hand if it's destroyed by card effect. Something that you really couldn't do, you know, unless you played some really weird shit to be able to add those cards back to your hand. So the fact that this allows you to recur hand traps like that, especially really powerful hand traps, is really good. Now, outside of BlueEyes, there are some other decks that can make use of this card. A deck that plays anything with Unizombie or Mizuki Unizombie can up itself to a level 5, and Mizuki can bring back a level 4, and also happens to be level 4 himself, so any zombie-based synchro deck or something like maybe playing with Shiranuis, they can easily make this card as well. And being able to recur a Unizombie is also very significant, so that's something that also definitely needs to be highlighted. Another deck, too, Gofu the Vague Shadow is probably one of the best cards currently in the game. It's a level 5 synchro, or excuse me, level 5 tuner monster, and if you're playing it in any deck that plays level 4s, which Metal Foes, you know, some of them happen to be level 4, or any other weird coincidence, any other weird deck that might play Gofu and level 4 monsters, it's really easy to make this card. And the fact that you can recur Gofu, because Gofu happens to be a tuner, is really cool. Now another thing too is you can actually use his effect to pop himself, which seems kind of ridiculous because you're taking a pretty hefty minus to do that, but if it's worth getting back that hand trap, it is something to note that it is possible to do depending on the circumstance. Like maybe you really want to stop them from going into a Spirit Dragon or an ABC Dragon Buster or something like that with Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries. It's a really niche scenario, but it could potentially come up. And it's something to highlight because it doesn't say target one other card, it just says target one card. Now, overall, what do I think of this card? I think it's a really good card. The thing is about it, it's lacking in just one area. Like, it's not pushed enough to just be broken or fucking phenomenal. Like, if you look at a card like ABC Dragon Buster, it has 3,000 attack, you basically get to make it for free, its destruction effect is a quick effect, it banishes instead of destroys, and then it also has the ability to dodge destruction on your opponent's turn. Now when I tell you that, compared to Vermillion Dragon Mech, you're kind of like, well fuck, this card sucks ass. And that's kind of the thing, that's kind of the scenario we're put in right now. Vermillion Dragon Mech only has 2,700 attack, it's a synchro, so you have to actually make it with monsters, you don't get it for free like Dragon Buster. Its effect targets, it only destroys, it doesn't vanish, and it doesn't really have any way to dodge removal or anything, and it has to be destroyed by a card effect to get its recursion effect to get a tuner back to your hand. Like, if it just had, like, let's say if it was sent to the graveyard at all, you could recur a tuner. Or if its effect banished instead of targeted. There's just so many little different things that if they just changed, this card could have been so much better. But it's just unfortunate that they're kind of worried about making it too good, so they kind of just held back and made it really good in a lot of different ways, but didn't give it that oomph to really push it over the top and make it like, bam, like this is the card. They could have given this thing like 3,200 attack, so at least it could have been killed in battle. Like, at least they could have done that, but you know, what can you really do? But that's going to be it for me, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about Vermillion Dragon Mech, and if you have any other cool scenarios where you think this card might come in handy. So, as always, thank you so much for watching the video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.